An island-wide blackout triggered an unprecedented emergency backup power project at Hawaii's biggest airport. That was 10 years and tens of millions of dollars ago. And when we started digging, we found out it's still not working right. Gina Mangieri is always investigating and tells us what she's found. Gina?
Joe, the backup power plant got underway after 2 power outages in 2 years. Now that plant can't quite kick into high gear. Just the latest airport project to be plagued by delays, missteps, and costly change orders. We wanted to know why this keeps on happening to DOT projects. Can and will anything change?
When Oahu went dark after the October 2006 earthquake, a lesson was learned. The airport was going to need a whole lot more backup power if it ever happened again. And happen it did. An island-wide outage just 2 years later during the 2008 Christmas travel hustle, when the airport delayed flights, kept incoming passengers on planes, barely humming with fractional power from an old backup generator system. A multi-million-dollar, 10-megawatt standalone generation project, about 8 times the old generator system, went out to bid.
The main function of this emergency power facility is to make sure we have power in the blackout. I don't want 50% power. I don't want 70% power.
It broke ground in 2011 and was to open by the fall of 2012 at a cost of $20 million. But Always Investigating uncovered it has yet to work just right and remains stuck in a testing loop. One test brought most of the airport to a screeching halt when regular power would not go back on.
75 flights were delayed and so on and so forth, so things will happen. And that's the reason why finding a testing period and making sure that we don't disrupt the operation to the Honolulu International Airport is very important.
The power plant was supposed to be revolutionary. 4 large generators in a concrete tower powered by on-site renewable biodiesel, exporting power right into the nearby HECO substation, switching on and off automatically without the airport missing a beat. But the state kept changing its mind about what exactly it needed built. The contractor got paid for wait-around time. Generators bought early on languished maintenance-wise. Tech and specs changed as the years went on. HECO told me it is at least connected to the grid and does generate electricity, but that the facility still needs work to run automatically.
What's the glitch in the switch that it can't just turn on automatically?
Well, I think there's 2 things. First of all, it's our project, but HECO's going to run it for us. And because of that, we have to make sure that all the specifications that HECO requires are being met. All the testing that HECO requires is being met. And that's, I think, the biggest thing.
Change after change order has the latest price, up past $23 million in years of delay. That aggravates Senator Donna Kim, who just held hearings about another troubled project, the cargo hangar Hawaiian Airlines had to take over building itself. When Always Investigating told Senator Kim of our power plant findings, she drew this parallel.
2010, we started the maintenance facility, same thing. And it's on the same watch. It's their decisions, poor decisions being made. They're gambling with not their money, but with the public's money.
What's going on when the public sees a project delayed, over budget, sometimes busted, as in the case of some of the more problematic projects?
I think a lot of times when we start projects, because of this process that's behind us, by the time we're actually ready to get into construction and we're ready to get into testing, the needs have changed.
DOT's director, many lawmakers, and airport stakeholders called for creating an airport corporation, an independent authority to take it all over. They held a press conference during legislative session declaring the current system unworkable. The authority would have seats at the table for private businesses like airlines and concessionaires. That irked the state's largest public worker union.
I don't think that we should be, as a community, turning over operations of a government asset like an airport to a complete lay board with no oversight whatsoever. Because at the end, they're certainly going to do what they believe to be in their best interest.
The airport authority bill failed to make it out of legislative session.
We've built this airport without an authority. I mean, every time you can't do something, you got to put an authority. We put an authority for heart, and look where we're at.
How can you guarantee the public it still can be done somewhat better than it's being done now, regardless of that bill?
Well, I think we're taking a look at different ways of doing it. We have to come up with a better way of going ahead and getting these projects to move forward.
The DOT director says they're already trying better coordination with their chief procurement officer, the budget and finance department, and the state's accounting and general services department to expedite paperwork and processes and cut red tape.
If we can resolve that problem, I think it'll be better, but their priorities are not always the airport's priorities, and when you have that, you have this difficulty.
Difficulties like the troubled power plant.
In the worst case, and a blackout happened today, could you run out and cold start it and have it working for some backup power now?
Yes, it manually can be turned on, plus we still have another 7 generators out there. So we do have, the old system is still online.
How long would you say, or do you hope, until that thing can work perfectly automatically?
I think it's slated for next month? Yep. Next month.
Okay, we'll check.
We'll invite you to the grand opening.
Please do.
We'll keep tabs on this and other big projects in the pipeline at the airport. But we're also digging into the little things, the fix-its that seem to stay broken for a long time. We're covering that next, not just at the airport, but at other public facilities we all pay for one way or another, whether it's taxes or user fees. Send us your photos of broken stuff that really irks you, and we'll look into what it'll take to get things fixed faster. Gina Mangieri, KHON 2 News.